Hello there, and welcome back to Vintage Story. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Can you believe I forgot to say I hope you're having a wonderful day at the start of last episode? I'm beside myself. 250 video combo broken. I don't know, might as well just retire from YouTube at this point. I mean, in all seriousness, I do hope you're having a wonderful day. So we are just going to jump straight into it. Crafting up a few clay items to fire while I go off and explore again. Making the cook pot, the crucible, and some bowls. So we have something to eat out of. Not cavemen eating with our fingers, everything. It is nighttime, so we have some monsters about. You could probably hear them in the background. I'm not messing with them. In fact, I've locked up the door. But yeah, we're probably not going to deal with them today, but we are going to probably get a look at them in the near future. I'm glad I replaced some of the blocks in the floor, or some of the more broken blocks, with dirt so they can't reach me. Once we have some copper tools, I will make a proper starter house. I did have a comment about living in a dirt hut, and yes, I agree. Your dirt hut is not ideal, but first episode. I need some place to hide during the night and to keep my stuff from getting put out by the rain. But yeah, I am gonna make a nice house, a nice starter house at least. I have a idea for a sod house. We'll see how that goes. So, well, without any further ado, let's get started. It might take a little getting used to, but Vintage Story has absolutely beautiful world gen. I mean, look at that. I do like the new look of these wolves, but yeah. Go away. There we go. Our first ever hunt was not intentional. I'm looking for resources and I get jumped by a wolf. But now we've got hide, meat, and fat. And bones too. Bones have a few uses. We can use them to make a bone axe or bone knife. And because we have the pet AI mod, we can use it to make a dog toy. And a few other little things. Pet whistle here, pet armor. Oh, we need it for the recurve bow, which is the special bow that you get as a hunter. It's the best bow in the game. We will actually look at making a bow in a bit, but right now I am going to just keep looking for resources and exploring the map a bit. We have... That's our little hut. We've explored a fair bit around, just looking for a nice location to set up in, and resources. Hopefully I won't get attacked by any more wolves in the process. My spear has taken a bit of a beating after one wolf. Which, by the way, it's very smart to have multiple spears on you at all times, especially early game when the spear is your main combat weapon. Which is why I always make sure I carry a bunch of flint and a bunch of sticks on me, because if this breaks and I have no other way to make spears, I'm kind of SOL. I said I was looking for resources. This is what I'm looking for. Native copper bits. You find these bits on the surface, it means there's copper underneath. We don't have the pickaxe yet, we can't collect the copper, but we can at least mark it on our map so we can come back and get it in the very near future. By the way, I've downloaded a fork of the Hud Clock mod. It is working. I will include a link to it. Once the proper Hud Clock mod is updated, the author of the fork said he's going to deprecate his, so it's not going to be available anymore. But this way, you can have the Hud Clock in 1.20. So we have 11 bits of copper. We need 20 bits in order to make our first tool. And we need actually 40 bits because we need to make a hammer as well as a pickaxe. The pickaxe is obviously needed to mine, but the hammer is needed to crush the ore, because we get ore in chunks, down into these bits here, which we can then use to make tools. I have been marking the traders as we pass him. This guy's a survival trader. He has some very good stuff, including bows, including the recurve bow that only a archer can make, or a hunter can make. He does sell that, but we need gears, and we have not found gears. And you're going to have to forgive me. I am still feeling a bit under the weather, so I am very stuffed up right now. I feel like I'm talking through a funnel. I've taken some medicine, but yeah, it's... I probably still sound off. It's not guaranteed, but this might be a meteoric iron impact. Yes, it is. Awesome. We cannot make use of it yet, but I am bookmarking them as I find them. Because that's iron that we can use in the future when we can actually mine it. And very good iron too. It's better than regular iron. Not as good as steel, but it looks great. Especially the armor. The meteoric iron armor looks really good. And I think I want to focus on that as opposed to steel armor, since steel is very involved. It takes a very long time. It takes a lot of resources. Alright, well, there's going to be just a lot of walking around and exploring for the time being. So, be back when I have something fun to show you. So, while this isn't going to be a tutorial series, really, I'm going to try to change it up a little bit. We're early game, basic survival. It's worth talking about. So, a few things. I made a cook pot and some bowls. The cook pot allows us to actually cook food. So I'm going to take some flax grain. Granted, flax isn't the best, but it does... It's something. If you notice here, the spelt... Actually, I think I can mix the spelt and the flax. The spelt offers 60 grain, whereas the flax offers 30. You don't really want to be eating flax if you can avoid it. Better to use it for things like feeding chickens and sheep. But what I want to do is take a little bit of this food here. We're going to toss it into our cook pot, and we're going to make porridge. You can mix fruit and grain to make porridge. By doing it like this, we're going to make 3 servings, and that will get us some better food than just eating raw food. It's better for a number of reasons. One is obviously this is going to make 3 meals, but the 3 meals are going to consist of 1 spelt, 1 flax, 1 grapes, and 1 cranberries. So if you combine all that together, that's 90 from the grain and 180 from the fruit. But because it's cooked, it's going to be even better than that. So that's what's going on there. What's going on outside is a lot of noise from our unfriendly neighbors. By the way, there are monsters in this game. You will definitely have... Oh, you are not welcome. That's one of them. That is a drifter. We have monsters in this game. It is survival. It's not just living in the wild. There is cosmic horror stuff. You definitely heard some of that in the opening bit. Oh, and now I'm taking hunger damage. But there, now we've got porridge. If I grab my bowl, I can grab this. 360 grain and 240 fruit. It does a much better job of feeding me than just the grain and the fruit alone. We also got some rawhide from the wolves that, the one wolf, only one attacked me, that we found earlier. Now, I can do a few things with this. I can either cut it up right away and turn it into rawhide trousers, or I don't have enough to make a rawhide shirt, but we could. There's also this warm jacket, but that requires cloth that we don't have. So that's one thing we could do with the rawhide. Second thing we could do with it is if we had access to lime or borax, we could start the process of making leather. We're not there either. So what we're going to instead... Oh, we can salt it too. It's preservation. What we can also do is cure it. We can oil it, take the 2 hide and the 1 bit of fat that we got from the wolf, combine it together, oils it. This has to cure over time. We can store it in a chest. It'll cure faster. When it's cured, it will become a pelt, which we could then use to make lamellar armor or fur clothing or a hunter's backpack. This is an upgraded backpack over what we currently have. This offers us 4 inventory slots as opposed to the 3 of the baskets. So that's what we're going to do with that. And the last thing is we are going to make a bed. Take its 8 dry grass per hay block. We need 3 hay blocks. And then we do this. That makes us a hay bed. This is not like Minecraft. If you sleep in the bed, it will not set your spawn. There's a different way to do that. We're not there yet. But this will allow us to sleep through the night. Which means we don't have to worry about the unfriendly creatures outside making all that ruckus. We will eat through our hunger, though. Oh, and you can get up at any time just by pressing shift while you're in bed. But... yeah, that's how we sleep through the night. It's now the next morning. We can go back out and continue exploring. Time does pass, so you see the oiled hide cured 16% while we slept. The fire pit ran down as we slept. I had an inventory system and I'm already breaking it. And I also made a crucible. Can't use it yet, but that's what we're going to use our native copper ore in. Once we have 20 bits, we can melt it in there. Obviously, we want to have 40 bits so we can make the hammer and the pickaxe at the same time. Now that it's day, we can go back out. We don't have to worry about monsters. And I can keep exploring, looking for a better place to set up. That's one of the new monsters. Ow. Okay. He just shot me. Yeah, it did a decent amount of damage too. Almost 5 damage. Yeah, we're just gonna leave him alone. I did find more copper up that way. So we're going to head that way, collect more copper, and maybe work on getting some copper tools in the very near future. So this is the minimap. Obviously, press tab to open it. If you right-click anywhere on the map, you'll get this option to add a waypoint. Clicking where I am, clicking the pickaxe here, and then clicking the copperish color, and it will autofill copper. Copper is one of the only ones that does autofill, but mark on the map where it is, and that way you can come back and find copper once you have your pickaxe. It's kind of like Terraformcraft in that if there's a surface deposit, that means there is a deposit under the ground. And I said I wasn't going to do this as a tutorial series. Oh well. Habits die hard. Oh, this is useful. There's a gravel biome over here. Because of it being a gravel biome, you don't get a lot of the grass ground cover. So it's a little easier to see what is around. So you can find nuggets and surface deposits easier. We also have pine trees here, so we have to keep an eye out for resin. Resin will spawn on some trees, and I don't have the mod that allows you to score trees to make new resin. So if you find resin, you want to make sure you don't chop down that tree. it's going to be very valuable for you in the future. As another one of those bow torn. There we go. There's some resin. So we take our knife. We can harvest it. Do you need a knife? I don't remember if you actually need a knife. Knife not necessary. Should have checked. But so that's resin. It will only spawn on these leaking pine logs. If you chop it down, you do not get the leaking pine log. You cannot use that to create new resin. So what I'm going to do is grab that, and do resin, save, and now we have a mark on our map where a tree with resin is, so we can come back and collect it, since this is needed for windmills and the fruit press and some armor and a couple other things. But yeah, it's going to be necessary, especially when we start getting into automation. So if you find it, collect it. You're going to need a stockpile of it. But here you see there is not much ground cover, so finding native copper just a little bit easier. And as I said, if we're lucky, maybe we'll find some native tin or some cassiterite. I don't think there's such a thing as native tin. And jump straight to bronze instead of making copper. Hey, we found a treasure hunter. So we can talk to the treasure hunter and they'll tell me if I bring him a tin bronze pickaxe. And it has to be a fresh one. So I think it can have up to 5% damage done to it, but obviously you want it. You want it to be a fresh made pickaxe. They will give me a map to a dangerous location, the first story location. They also do trade some other stuff. They'll take a tin bronze pickaxe. They'll trade me maps. They'll trade some clothing items, black guard armor, which is pretty good. They do take backpacks. We don't have anything to trade with them right now, but we are going to definitely be coming back to them in the future, since, as I said, they will show us where the first story location, the Residence Archive, is. I found this very nice gravel biome that we're exploring it right now. I have 41 copper nuggets. We can go make our first 2 copper tools now. I am also just seeing if there's anything else out here before I head back. But yes, finding that treasure hunter early on is awesome. It will make it'll make us being able to actually dive into the story content much quicker. And well, also I actually know about it now, whereas the last time, season 1, I had no clue what the treasure hunter, that's a scary drop, knew, or what I needed to trade with them for, or why I needed to trade with them. So we are definitely gonna have to make a prospector's pick at this rate, just so we can try to narrow down where some tin is. Because, I mean, I said it's rare. It's absolutely going to be rare, finding surface deposits, and I've had no luck, to be expected. But yeah, prospector's pick will at least allow us to prospect and find ore. There's a nice rune over there. Oh, we've got a hot spring right there. You do not want to go into those. Those like the hot springs in Yellowstone. You go in, you wind up being cooked. There's plenty of this bony soil. I haven't been collecting any of it yet. We have limited inventory. When I have a bit more... When I'm a bit more settled, we're going to come back to all these different ruins, collect... First off, we can collect these ashlar polished bricks and the ashlar blocks. Those look very nice. But we can gather up the bony soil, and then we can sift it and get things like books, arrowheads, and copper arrowheads and copper spearheads. We can occasionally get copper chainmail. copper chains for chainmail. It's very rare, but you could. Which we can always break down and just smelt back into copper to use for other tools. And you can also get gems, which can be traded to different traders for gears, which you can then use as currency. Well, while we're being serenaded by all the creepy things outside, let's make our first tools. So we have our crucible. You fire this in the pit kiln, the same way we got the pickaxe mold earlier. Same way we get the pots and the cups. And what we can do now is put 40 units of copper in here. It says it'll create 200 units. I'm sorry, but put 40 nuggets in. It says it creates 200 units. You need 100 units per mold. It's 1 ingot worth. We made this pit kiln, charcoal pit at the beginning of, the end of last episode. And let's see how much charcoal we actually got out of that. 5. Not much, but it's enough for now. I'm going to be only putting them on as I need them. This has to heat up to 1084 degrees Celsius. As I mentioned, same with cooking. Once this reaches that temperature, the arrow will start to fill up green. When it's full, the crucible will move over there. We need to make a pair of tongs. We need rope and 6 sticks. I happen to have 6 sticks on me. That's lucky. The rope we can make with 6 cattail, just like that. So that makes the 1 rope, 6 sticks. That makes the wooden tongs. We need that in our offhand in order to actually pick up the hot crucible. Okay, so you see the bad guy over there? He's the one who's been shooting at me. They come out of those rifts, or at least they spawn around those rifts. So the fact that I have a rift near my house, or near my shelter, is why there's so much noise outside. Of course, I used the last of my sticks to make the tongs. I now no longer have sticks to make the tools, but I can go and collect more sticks in a minute once this is done. Because once we put the metal into the molds, it's going to take a little time for them to cool before we can actually use them. So it's not a big rush right now. And you can stack coal. He hit me through the gap by clicking it on the ground. There we go. That's the crucible. For some reason, it didn't want to pour for a moment. I may not have been close enough. There we go. So that is our 2 molds. They now have to cool. You can cool them now in 1.20 by pouring water on them. It'll speed up the cooling down process. I don't have a watering can to do that. And there's a chance they break and you lose the item, or at least it becomes like... not quite slag. It becomes an undefined mass of the metal that you then have to heat up again and reforge. So it's not worth it. We'll just let them cool naturally. And our pelts are done, which means we can put that there and those there to get hunter's backpacks, which we can then swap out with these hand baskets. We have no use for these hand baskets anymore. So we put them in our inventory with our knife. We get 5 back per basket, which is half of what it took to make them. But you know what? You're recycling somewhat. So it's better than nothing. Those are already cooling down. Once they say, right now it says liquid copper. It's going to then transition to soft copper. Once it says hardened copper, we can take them out of the mold. They will still be too hot to handle without the tongs. However, if we apply a stick to them right away, then it instantly cools down. Otherwise, we can throw them in water to quench them. Dang it. You hit me through the gap. And if you step on the molds when they're still hot, they hurt. Okay, so this is probably going to be foolish, but I'm tired of this guy bugging me. He is running away because it's daytime. Oh. Okay, he went down pretty easy. 3 stabs and 1 throw of my spear. Do we get loot from them? No, he didn't drop anything. At least not this time. If you take out drifters, or, well, apparently the bow's torn like that, they can have loot. We've got so many rifts around us. No wonder we had a noisy night. And that loot includes rusty gears, flax twine, and temporal gears. Temporal gears is what we need to set our spawn point. We did not get any temporal gears, but we can keep exploring. In fact, actually, I was just editing. Yes, I'm running away like a coward. I am a one-shot right now. Okay, so that happened. I was editing my video thus far, and I saw that the treasure trader did have temporal gears. Not that I had gears to buy a temporal gear off of him, but that is another way to get them if you are not finding any. Okay, I will admit I got a little bit scared there when that thing came crawling out at me. Again, I've been avoiding spoilers. Fortunately, the Vintage Story Discord, not everyone knows or cares to use spoiler tags, so I know that thing is called a shiver. Just like the thing that ran down my spine when it came crawling out of tall grass at me. Okay, so I'm gonna need to collect a bit more resources. We have our pick and our hammer. We're gonna go out mining in a very short bit. I'm gonna head up there, get some copper, and show you that. I also want to point out, so we need sticks, obviously, for the tools. You can find sticks on the ground. They look kind of like that. You find them mostly in forests. Or, if you find these leaves, you see birch leaves on the ground. If we find one that says branchy, like this one, breaking a branchy leaf will always get you a stick. So, if you're having a hard time finding sticks, find branchy leaves and break them. That is also true for trees. So, this one here is a branchy, maple branchy leaf. We break that, we get a stick. Okay, let's go get a new pair of pants and... Oh my gosh, all the dirt keeps collapsing under me. And get our tools. He better be gone because I cannot take a hit. Okay. Okay, so the pickaxe and the hammer are both hardened and cold. Which means we don't have to worry about getting burned trying to pick them up. So you just click them to pull them out. You get to keep the mold. The molds can break if you are trying to cool them quickly. If you wait for them to cool naturally, I don't think they can break. So, that's our pick. That's our hammer. We are going to need the hammer. Let's go do a little mining. Oh. There's a moose by where I was marking stuff. Moose are very territorial in real life and in game. That thing attacked me earlier and took off half of my health in one shot. So we're going to go to this other copper deposit instead. I was in Vermont, I think, many years ago on vacation. And there was a road sign that I still remember to this day. It said, Cars 0, Moose 6. Implying that when a car hits a moose, the moose wins. Oh, we do have cave-ins on, too. I forgot about that, since I haven't ever played with cave-ins in Vintage Story yet. I don't know what's the requirement for it to cave in. So we're going to learn this the hard way. Oh, there we go. The tooltip says instability. So that says instability of 50. I don't know what adds to it. That says 50. That says 50. I wonder if it's how many sides are supported. That's 50. It's got the bottom and a side. That's got the bottom and 2 sides. No, that's bottom and 1 side. Doesn't seem to make a difference in that regard. There we go. There's some copper. So as I mentioned, we're underneath where I found some copper on the surface. So we have a chance to find copper. We did. We mined this, and this is a poor quality vein. So this isn't going to get us as much, but you take your copper chunk, put it in with your hammer, and you get nuggets. Poor gets you 3 nuggets. Normal gets you 4. I think. Rich will get you 5, and Bountiful will get you... Wait. Is that the right denominations? Here we go. So yeah. Poor, medium, rich, bountiful. Poor chunk gets you 15 units or 3 nuggets. Medium will get you 20 units or 4 nuggets. So you need 5 medium to make 1 ingot. Rich gets you 25 units or 5 nuggets. So you need 4 rich to make 1 ingot. And bountiful gets you 35 or 7 nuggets. Now, I am a hunter, so I mine slower. Obviously, when we get better tools, when we have a bronze pickaxe, we will mine faster. We also have a slightly less yield. So every time you break one of these ore deposits, you have a chance of getting one of those crystallized nuggets. Because I'm a hunter, I have a less chance of getting one of those every time I break a deposit. And now this is a surface deposit, so it's going to be pretty small. I may have completely exhausted it at this point. But this will be enough to get us... Oh, there's a little more right there. A little more above it. This is enough to get us going. Okay. The roof collapsed. I apparently reached the threshold for it to collapse. It collapsed on me, it did me damage, and it revealed more copper. So... the good and the bad. So Terraformacraft has cave-ins and whatnot also, but you can make supports. Well, okay, I know about these supports, but are they actually useful for holding up? I don't think they actually help for holding up. That's instability is 100%. Huh. I don't know if they're actually useful for holding up anything. I know they're very good for decoration, but that's about it. All right, well, that got us 20, technically 29 units of, or chunks of copper. which if we use our hammer is 90. I'm 93 now. That is 4 more ingots of copper that we can make. Not enough for an anvil. We need... How much do we need for a copper anvil? I think it's 9. Yeah, I think it's 9. Alright, I think we're gonna call it an end here. I am going to get to work turning my dirt hut into an actual usable house. We thankfully have these very nice quarter logs now. Make them by this recipe here, so we can do 6 logs, and our axe makes these quarter logs, and if I place them down, they kind of have the log cabin look to them. So I'm going to be using those, make ourselves a starter log cabin, and that's going to be our, well, starter house. So I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be clearing out the area so we're not living in a dirt hut surrounded by grass. And next episode, we'll have a nice house. And I'll also look to get started with the anvil. Of course, I'll show you the process, but that's going to require a bit more iron. Sorry. It's going to require a bit more copper. We're going to need to do a clay mold. We're going to need to fire the clay mold. You'll see it. Until then, thank you for joining me today. I hope you've had a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Later.